it is a basic matter of fairness and economic good sense, first of all, that everyone do their fair share. We have seen the effect of the alternative, the weak economic growth that we saw when giving huge tax cuts to the wealthy occurred in 2001 and 2003, and the result, I mentioned this on the plane yesterday, is rather extraordinary. When you think about the job growth that we saw in March, the figures released on Friday, and the fact that 120,000 net jobs were created in March, and while that was a reduction from what we had seen in the 3 previous months, it was still substantially higher than the average job creation under George W. Bush, even if you take out the recession. So even in periods of expansion, during those 8 years when President Bush was in office, the average job creation was something like 97,000 per month. And that, I think, and that's setting aside the fact that those policies helped precipitate the worst financial crisis and economic crisis that we've seen in a generation. And yet we have seen policies that have created a situation where millionaires are paying tax on their income at a lower rate than their secretary. So, but let me just be clear. The fact that the money saved by eliminating these tax advantages that the wealthiest have here, or reducing the tax advantages that the wealthiest have here, does not by itself reduce the deficit, doesn't make it not worth doing. Obviously, the $47 billion, no, but the question is,
the White House position seems to have moved, so I'm just
no, the position is, what we've made clear from the beginning is that there's obviously savings here, and that is an aspect of why it is important to do it. We have never made the case that this element of tax reform would by itself solve our deficit and debt challenges. Obviously, we've never made that case because the President put forward a comprehensive plan to deal with our deficit and debt challenges, of which tax reform was only a part. So it's the same case we're making today. There is an attempt, obviously, on the other side to throw up a little gorilla dust, to obscure what the debate is here, and argue that, well, since asking the wealthiest Americans out there to pay at the same rate on their income that middle-class Americans do, since that won't solve our deficit problems, we shouldn't do it. Another real classy charge is the idea that, well, wealthy Americans who feel like paying their fair share, feel like paying taxes at a rate that middle-class Americans do, if they don't, have the option to doing it themselves by writing a check. Think what that says to middle-class American families who are trying to get by, who are paying their taxes and paying at a rate higher than Warren Buffett or numbers of millionaires and billionaires across the country. That one side's answer to that is, well, the wealthy, it should be an option. If they feel like they should pay their taxes and pay their fair share, then they should. But otherwise, it certainly shouldn't be policy. Well, we disagree.